Welcome. My name is Mike Dudgeon. I'm a Senior Director of Global Strategic Accounts at LinkedIn. I'm joined today by Roshni Das, who is the GM and CMO, Regional CMO of APAC and Japan at Intel. I'm excited to talk with you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have the study called the B2B Marketing Benchmark. And this study looks at the state of B2B marketing. And one of the things that stood out to me for CMOs is really just this expansion of the role that is happening. What we did was we interviewed peers of yours and also peers within the executive suite, inclusive of the CFOs. Yes. And one of the things that came back was this topic of expansion. Mm-hmm. Two things that stood out. One is the expansion in terms of business performance, but also the CMOs being more involved in terms of business strategy as well. Yeah. What do you think is causing this transformation?
Thank you for having me here. Great time to be a marketer. I think beyond marketeers just being brand builders, product marketeers, one of the things that's causing this is just having a seat at the table, like you said, being part of the business transformation. A good part of it is how the brands today are realigning to customer expectations, which is broader, say, in ESG narrative, a broader say in D&I, a broader say in employee engagement, and broader say in driving new markets and being part of the innovation that the company is going forward in.
Amazing. Thank you. So you're at Intel, you're in Asia. In addition, you're getting expansion in terms of responsibility that has to be exciting. Yes. But I'm assuming there's a few things that potentially keep you up at night with this expansion and role. Yes. What are those?
A few. I think I recently read one of the Gartner CMO journals. Pretty exciting. I picked a few of those points that resonated with me through that journal. One is just such unpredictable buying behavior change and digital journey shifts, right? On the back of new markets, new messaging, privacy, generative AI. So much has changed in just 2 years. The second part is just the speed of innovation. You talked about it, right? We're sitting in India, but across APJ, it's such a huge growth engine. You're seeing speed of innovation, business models, markets, behavior. So for us as marketers, innovating for new audiences, new markets, new products is a great place to be, both a challenge and an opportunity. The third piece is just erosion of brand value, core brand value, as Gartner calls it. And that's on the back of higher audience expectations, more competition. And so brands and brand building has to become more stronger than ever. Yep. And the last, I would say, is just cross-collaboration. You asked me what was exciting about the expansion, but also why is the expansion happening? It's on the back of the fact that today, because of the multiple roles and hats we're wearing, we have to talk to more stakeholders. The cross-collaboration has gone up. And so that's an area we have to think about. So team structures is another area that we have to think about as part of
team structure. Okay. So one of the things you said was collaboration. Do you find yourself collaborating with net new folks within the C-suite, or are these folks that you've had long-standing relationships with and you're just showing up in a different way?
Both. I would say we are showing up in a different way because a lot of our focus is, of course, showing near-term value, but also building longer-term vision and perception shifts. So that's one part of the question. But the second part of it is, yes, like I said, when we have a seat at the table defining the brand purpose, that's one. New channel partners because of new markets and new partners, new co-creation of solutions. So working with our sales teams, to work through new product innovation. And like I said, more than ever, team motivation, team structures, the D&I focus is making us have a different say with our general managers across all of these functions.
You cover off on 3 challenges. I'm going to hone in on 2, if you could help us with, in terms of your approach to them. Number 1 was the change, the unpredictable buying behavior and digital journey shifts. Mm-hmm. Number 1, if you can cover off on that. Yes. 2 is just this erosion of traditional sources of brand value. Yes. And this need for just the collaboration, which we just touched on. Yes. Would you mind covering off on those?
Yes, absolutely. 2 parts. I think I will reference the McKinsey report that 70% of B2B decision makers are now comfortable with self-serve, which means that they're doing a lot of online research. We talked about digital shifts happening in the journey. So a lot of our B2B decisions are happening online. That's 70% for about value of about $50,000. And 27%, pretty significant, are comfortable making those decisions up to 500,000, which means that brands have to have a role to play at all parts of the journey, at the exploration stage as well as at point of sale. So I think as marketers, a lot of personalization at all points. The journey orchestration is becoming more and more important. And the third piece, I think, is just, like I said, audience expectations, but really savvy audiences. So there is a lot of our audiences researching way ahead of time. And again, how are we working with them through that exploration and serving them content or serving them what is the right value at the right time is becoming pretty critical. You talked about the brand value erosion bit. I feel, and I think at the core of B2B marketing is still going to be human-centric storytelling. Yes, we need precision targeting. Yes, we need broad-based targeting. But at the end of it, I think humanizing the brand is very, very critical. We've just launched an Intel brand campaign. It says, the tagline is, it starts with Intel. But for me, it starts with Intel, but it ends with you. It ends with the customer. And the ethos of a lot of work we do is co-creation. Yep. One of the examples that we're highlighting in the campaign that starts with Intel is our work with Pegatron in Taiwan on a 5G in a box, 5G network in a box solution. And when Taiwan gets hit, say, with disasters, this one provides you connection anywhere. Can you imagine connectivity even when the lines are down? So great ability for us to keep technology at the center of the experience, but also provide a lot of value back to the industry.
Amazing. Thank you. Going back to collaboration.
Yes.
Is one of the things you just said, I think is key, is human-centric.
Yes.
Correct. And do you feel with this increased collaboration, how are the marketers showing up to make sure that human centricity is being prioritized as you're talking about business needs?
Human centricity, I think it's, at the end of it, creativity has to be centered around what it helps you feel. What does it help you do with the technology, right? So Intel is all about improving lives through the help of technology. So a good amount of it is, how do we put the technology in the hands of the consumer for them to make possible what is of value to them? So that's really at the core of technology. Yeah. Technology is only good when it makes things possible for the end customer. And telling the stories of what it makes possible is where our focus is.
So you're working with these new stakeholders. Well, stakeholders you've worked with in the past.
Yes.
New responsibilities. Obviously, with all of us who work within businesses, KPIs and measurement are definitely a thing, especially during the last 6 to 12 months.
Yes.
How are you thinking about that in terms of showcasing that value that marketing brings to the organization with those folks?
Yeah, strategy and measurement is a favorite topic, right? But look, at the end of it, I think every business has to showcase value. It's not just about marketing showcasing value, but our conversations, or at least my philosophy is, there are 3 areas that a CMO should look at: business intelligence, creativity, and audience insights. And business intelligence is where I was talking about collaboration across different groups and how can we lean in, to help drive value for their customers. That's one. But the second part of it I find, and I think LinkedIn talked about it in one of our sessions, was demystifying KPIs. I think one of your B2B Institute talked about it. Sometimes both the audiences are on the same side of the table, but they're just looking at the problem differently. So a lot of it is just demystifying KPIs. What does success mean for my CFO or my CEO versus what does success mean for marketing? And how do we demystify it? What does preference mean? What does lagging and leading indicators mean? What does perception shift mean, right? So I find like making some time to say, this is what it means and this is where we're headed, I think helps. A good part of the work that we do is about say-do ratio. Like, are you saying and are you doing? And that means over-communicating expectations sometimes. But I also feel it's a great time. There's tools, there's capabilities, and you can therefore prioritize where you want to spend your energy. And those tools and capabilities can help you tell that, the insighting, the shifts that can come. with the audiences that we have to talk to. So I would put that in 3 or 4 areas.
So you mentioned human centricity, and when I think about marketing, I feel like marketing keeps the humans and the customers at the core of everything. And with the expansion of role, do you have an example of how you and your team has kind of brought that to life for Intel?
One of the examples that I want to talk about is how human centricity and technology work together to solve a deeply honed problem. And one of the examples, very, very contextual to today's times, is based on AI. At Cannes this year, we did win the Gold Lion on an example called Certified Human. And it actually addresses the need to look at deepfakes and misinformation. And so this was an algorithm developed internally to go out and look at AI. So it's a beautiful example of looking at technology as well as solving a real problem. And since we're in India, another example that we did have, again, technology for good, is a project we're looking at for water restoration in Bangalore. So a lot of examples, and all of this come, like I said, with co-creating with our partners in the industry.
Amazing. That is a great example, and congratulations, by the way, on winning. That is a great example, and for those who have not seen it, I would highly recommend you check it out. I feel like it's very powerful, creative, and deserving of the win as well. So congrats.
Thank you.